A warm welcome and hello on today's episode on the Golden Muse Show. I'm Chrisoula Sirigou, the Golden Muse, and I'm delighted. I've got here with me Susan Brookes. Susan is the founder of Positive Publicity online magazine, and also the founder of Positive. Okay, did I say the other word? Positive Kids magazine. That's it. So we've got lots of positivity here. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, let's keep it this way. So welcome, Sue. Welcome on today's show.
Hello, Chrisoula. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for saying yes to this kind of platform, because I know that you love bringing the best out, in people, and you have been involved with various ways to increase other people's visibility through what you're doing, because you believe that positive news and positive stories, and equally, how we can inspire positivity in everybody's life. That's part of who you are, and that's why also you stepped up and you said, all right, okay, I'm going to do something else now. And I'd like you to share with us and with our viewers, what is it that actually inspired you to set up Positive Kids online magazine?
Okay. So I've been exploring my own sort of personal development for a number of years, and also running the PR company, Positive Publicity. I found that the clients that kind of I was attracted to, and also that came to me were often those that were working across the holistic sectors, that were sort of educators and people who inspired others. And lots of those actually worked, or wanted to work with children. So I felt there was a lot of information and messages there from those people that really greatly help, whether it's parents or educators or people caring or involved with children in some way or other. And certainly as a parent myself, my children are slightly older now, but I kind of thought, gosh, I wish I'd known all this, when I'm younger. I can see now that if I'd have, done some of these techniques, carried out the activities with them, just thought things through a little bit more in this busy life that we lead, that could have really, really enhanced things. But also, that there's just a great need because of some of the challenges and problems that are out there for our young people these days. Of positive opportunities, but there can also be some negativity, particularly around things potentially like social media, etc. So I wanted to bring advice and information out there for people to see and give them ideas, really, to help them with challenges that they might be facing. Be a bit more proactive about helping their children to live happy and healthy lives.
Yes,
that's what it's all about. It's about their emotional well-being. So it's about children having greater self-esteem, having greater confidence and resilience. So that's the emotional side. Then there's also the healthy side, the sort of nutrition and fitness angle and staying safe. So partly because I just felt there was a great need, partly because I knew there were all these people that had this information and it didn't have a channel to get out there. So I wanted to put it out there for people.
Yes, you have done an amazing job so far, and I can see it, getting better and better, because at the end of the day, we do need, although you may ask yourself, do we really need another magazine, or do we really need another book, or do we really need another Italian restaurant? You know what I mean? But every single one of you has got your unique essence, your gift, and you, Sue, you've got your own gift. But by bringing this online magazine together, you're actually inspiring other people's unique gifts to be shared. And by sharing our unique stories and expertise and messages, we are inspiring each other. And you're offering your wonderful container there with lots of articles, lots of opportunities for people to advertise, lots of events, and give like tips also that can be easily brought into your everyday life as a parent, as a busy person mum, that you're having so many things up in the air. So that's what I feel, that it is a great asset to have your magazine in our overwhelming busy life.
Yeah. Yes, and it is available online. It's also available in hard copy. So if somebody wants to sit down with their cup of tea or cup of coffee, and just have sort of 15 minutes to themselves, reading it in that way, that is available for them as well.
Yeah. Well, as you know, I'm a lover of books, so I love something being printed and in front of me. So I can see how that could be appealing to some people out there, that they still believe that online is fantastic, but also I still want to stick with my written, write something solid in my hands and connect with the pictures, connect with the colors, connect with the words and the messages. Fabulous. So it is really important also to connect with something you already mentioned before, that parents need support, and also people involved with helping children evolve, educate, enrich their lives, because children at the end of the day, they are here just to play, to be in the moment, to enjoy. They are conditioned by what we adults ask them to be and do. Okay, so we need something to help both sides. That's what I see. What you're offering here, that you have parents in one hand, but also you have children in the other hand.
Yeah, and the magazine, it is aimed at the adults, definitely. It is aimed at the adult reader, and sharing techniques and ideas to help, and personal stories to help them. I think another important element of the magazine is that we do have what's called a Just For You section. Mm-hmm. It's really about the adult reader looking after themselves, really, and thinking about what they are role modelling, because we all know that children definitely do pick up on these things and they do imitate. Mm-hmm. If you are role modelling that life is a really hard trudge all the time, that you're always stressed, that you're busy, that you're shouting, that you're snapping at them, that you're worn out, you're exhausted, life's horrible, then that, as you say, is how children might become conditioned and might think that life has to be. Whereas if you're role modelling, a calmer, more peaceful, more positive life, living to your own potential as well, then you are demonstrating to children, that that's possible and that's a good way to live your life. And I think that's certainly, as my children got older, that is one of the things I realised, that actually they were picking up on what I was doing, and that if I didn't start to think about this a little bit more, and in my case self-care, because I've always been a person that doesn't really take much notice of myself, I'd actually be teaching them not to value themselves, not to have self-worth. So I think that Just For You element of the magazine is really important as well, because it's the top tips, it's the stories, to help the adults look after themselves as well, and show the importance of that. So it's aimed at the adults. It's got that element specifically for adult care. But there are also some great parts of the magazine which are written by children themselves, which are fantastic too.
I love that. I love inspiring the creativity in them. Yes, because they are sparkling with ideas, and they love being more sort of part of this world. So yeah, seeing their stories coming up in your magazine, that's great. That's great.
Yeah. Well, the one part is called Young Minds, so it's about trying to get their perspective on things, how they see life, what the reality is like for them. And I think, yes, we all want to have great relationships with the children in our lives, and we hope that can be an open conversation and a discussion, etc. But sometimes we might not always totally understand what's going on, so that young person's perspective on things, I think, can really help us. I think it's also a great tool that, after you've read it as an adult, you might want to say, oh, I've just read this in the magazine about this young person, how do you feel about that? So it can become a conversation piece as well. So I think that's important. And the other section, which I really love, is called Celebrating Kids Doing Positive Things, which again is all about this word positivity, there are lots of children out there doing fantastic things, whether it's raising monies for charity, whether it's actually public speaking themselves, whether it's getting involved in some really exciting community.
Yeah, being entrepreneurial, like seeing also the value of money and community and social work and giving back and contributing in that way. Starting
their contribution to life,
Yeah.
that is part of our self-worth and our value as well, feeling that we've had a purpose and that we're contributing in some way. But again, as you said, with my work with positive publicity, a lot of that was really about bringing those positive stories to the fore.
Mm-hmm.
We do on the news, etc. We do hear so much doom and gloom and the bad news stories, if you like, the negative. And what we hear about children often is about teenage gangs or violence or drunkenness or those sorts of things. That's a really great opportunity to say, hey, look, kids are doing loads of great things as well. Let's talk about that. Let's share that.
Because more positive way of thinking and positive mindset brings more of the positive in your life. If we want to take the law of attraction into our conversation here, but the more we concentrate on negative aspects or negative news or seeing things only from a negative angle, then we are going to attract more of that. And, we are bringing more of that into our lives. So a magazine like yours or a book or an event or whatever that brings more of that positive essence of life, and then through examples, through real life stories, scenarios. So that makes it more real as well.
And I mean, science has actually backed this up, that positive thinking, positive psychology, looking for the positives in life, is actually a great health benefit as well. The studies have been done that shows that people that focus on more positive things, are healthier and have a better general well-being. Mm-hmm. There's lots and lots of reasons to take it up and apply.
And it's great also to celebrate life. Let's see the goodness in life. Let's see the beautiful yumminess, the juiciness of what children can bring. And also as an individual, as an adult, instead of always, sometimes we're getting very harsh on ourselves. Oh, I could have done better. I should have thought that before, and then always, not always, but, somehow we get this question mark in our hearts. Am I doing the right thing? Am I good enough as a parent or as an educator or as a teacher? How much more can I do? And of course, we can do a lot more. But, sometimes also it's good to press pause, sit down, have a good read, get some more inspiration, and say, actually, I'm not on my own here. That's what books and magazines and, reading and, that's what also brings into us that you're not on your own. You are okay. You've got a voice. Go ahead and share it or do something, contribute in the world. Start at a young age. Yes, that's some of the elements I see in your magazine as well, Sue.
But I think the other part, like you say, there's the magazine, but we also have a Facebook discussion group online, and that has been a great source, I think, of opportunity for people to get tips from each other, really, as perhaps parents sharing what's happening in their lives, asking, Johnny's a fussy eater, do you have any ideas, and then other people seeing and commenting and sharing their own experiences and advice. So the magazine, might be a fixed point in time every 2 months, but the Facebook group is daily, inspiration, advice, just like you say, a bit of support if you're feeling, oh dear, I've not done a great job. I did shout at them today, which, we're all only human, nobody's perfect. It is a great source for that as well. So I'd encourage people to get involved in that group as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes. The other thing that I also like to mention here is that you are also featuring in the book of Soulful Musings. This is my book, and I'm delighted that Sue is actually on board. And Sue, you're helping me. You're doing a fantastic job with the transcripts, and not only, we have exchanged a number of sort of ideas over various things, because a big project, and a big project that's evolving, and around 40 people now. They are part of this book of soulful things.
40 people, wow.
And then there are people like people like educators, authors, people that are very much passionate about holistic health and well-being, like what you're featuring in your magazine as well, Sue, and people that really believe in change and growth and how we can maximize life. And self-care is really important. It's a huge, like the vision and mission of the book. And I guess that's why we are collaborating here, myself and Sue, is because we believe in self-care. Probably we have learned it the hard way, and we don't want you to carry on being that, and then inspiring also to look after yourself and look after your inner world, your emotional well-being, your mental health as an adult, but also how we can inspire the younger generation to connect with their emotions more, to connect with what's happening inside, instead of saying, putting a mask on and say everything's okay, everything's good. But at the end of the day, in a few years down the line, the depression could kick in, and then we could have other issues, and your health is going to be compromised a big time. So you're not here to be a miserable one. That's what I'm saying. We're here to be positive and enjoy life. And that's what also that's the collaboration behind myself and Sue in bringing this book together as well. So there are also people coming as good to be from other countries in the world as well. So it's going to be this international appeal.
Yeah. And I think I very much believe that prevention is better than cure. I mean, we all know that mental health statistics, whether that's in adults or in children, are rising rapidly, and very sad numbers, and the mental health services that we have, are finding it difficult to cope. Similarly, childhood obesity and things like that is rising. So if all of us can do anything, to help people to understand that, to give them ideas about things that they can be either proactively doing or doing at a very early stage when there's any problems, and techniques and tools that they might not know about. I mean, I didn't know all of these holistic things existed, probably 5 years ago, but we're all learning every day. There are more and more services and techniques and opportunities out there that can really help people, and it's just like, say, your book, the magazine, events, online things, all of that can really help people. And I just kind of encourage them to, I guess, take the time to do that. If it was for your work, your job, or if you had a DIY problem at home, you would go to Google, you would buy a book, you would ring an expert and ask, how do I do this?
Yeah, because you want to fix something. But it's not only about fixing here, isn't it?
So looking after yourself, or thinking about how to raise happy and healthy children, why wouldn't you go and look for that information and get that help to do that? Because surely it's almost the most important job in the world, really, isn't it? To raise children well. So all of these things that we do are great resources for people.
Yes, absolutely. So what would be your sort of tip to a future parent? Because I know you are already, your children are grown up, but if it's somebody who is a new parent and they are a little bit, find the whole parenting thing a bit overwhelming, and although they love the idea of having a child in their lives, but still they find it a bit too much sometimes, what would you say to them?
Okay, so one of the things I would say was, as I've just spoken before, really about don't be afraid to go and look for help and find, whether that's expertise, whether it's advice in that kind of more formal sense, or whether it is just joining communities help you, such as my online Facebook community or others in your own neighbourhood. Don't think you have to be perfect and you should be ashamed, if everything's not going well, because it is a very, very tricky job, I think. But also,
absolutely,
just not getting caught up really in that busyness of life, just remembering to stop and take stock and take the time. and most importantly, take the time to talk with your children, you know, in whatever format that takes. And again, there's been loads of tips on the Facebook forum. You know, some people, it's a family meal round the table at night. Maybe for younger children, it might be when you're tucking them up in bed and having that story. For some, you know, maybe the teenagers, that sort of eye-to-eye contact gets a bit difficult sometimes, and it can actually be when you're in the car, you know, when you're not actually face-to-face in that sense, that the conversations flow more easily. But making sure that sort of regular conversation and that talking things through becomes habit, something that you do often, not something that you only do if there's a big major problem. That's really important for emotional well-being. And of course, one of the biggest things, it's got to be age appropriate for all of that. Obviously, you know, what you might be talking about with a 2-year-old compared to a 14-year-old would be very different, and the tone of your voice and the language that you might use might be very different. But always try, and again, it's just about taking some time and getting yourself into the habit. Use the positive language and ask the open questions. There's anybody that's, I don't know, got a 10 or 12-year-old, and you say, did you have a good day at school? You know, it's likely to be a pretty grumpy, sort of sulky noise, you know. If a bit later in the day or whatever, you can open that up to, you know, what were the best things that happened today, or what didn't go so well. You are encouraging, as you say, that connection with their feelings and their emotions, and them to open up and how life really is for them at that point in time, rather than a very closed, oh yeah, they've said, yeah, it was okay, and I've not taken it any further.
Yes, and on that point, I also like to add that it's like, don't take it personally when you're dealing with teenagers in particular. I've worked with teenagers for a few years, being a teacher in a secondary school education, so working in that environment, working with 12-year plus, you know, until, you know, 17, whatever, 18-year-old ones, and it is. I've learned that, you know, whatever they say, whatever they come up, it doesn't mean it's not destined at you. You know, it's just the way they don't know how to verbalize it, they don't know how to express, or they don't know how to deal with their own inner sort of battle, if you like. And there's so much going on inside them, and they're not sure how to bring it out there. So you know, they can camouflage it in a very good way by just being a bit you know, abrupt about things, or, you know what I mean, or just being a bit rude, or saying, you know, unnecessary sort of negative comments or whatever. But deep down, I think what I've learned, and that's part of my research and being an emotional well-being educator for a number of years now, it's looking at this kind of signs as a sort of really screaming out that they need some help. They really need some help. They really need to some support, some understanding, instead of you coming back and just going right at them and say, dang, 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 you know, you shouldn't have said that, you shouldn't have, and then using this negative, don't you dare say that to me, or whatever. Just try to figure out that actually something is going on here, and then they need some help. And I need, as a parent, as an educator, to find another way to approach them, another way of seeing what's going on inside them, and use different language as well, different approach, if you like.
And again, if you look at you know, the actual child development side, if you research that, if you look into books, etc., then, like you say, all of that will tell you that the teenage grumpiness, teenage, you know, speaking sharply, all of that, you know, it is natural. It is a natural phase of life, really, you know, and like you say, don't take it personally. It's perfectly normal, you know. It's a stage they are going through.
It's still hard to cope with when it comes to you, like quite constantly, and then it's there, like in your face, and then you have to live with it. So I have to get it.
And I think, you know, one of the biggest things that I've learned, you know, when I've started to look at life a little bit more in the personal development time, is to remember that we always have a choice. Yes, you know, what somebody else says to you, or the way they behave, etc., you know, that's their choice, but you choose how you react to that. And yes, as a parent, it's very easy to get into a tit-for-tat sort of shouting argument with your child or a child, but just take that moment, take that calm, think about what it's really about, and as you say, all of these difficulties for the child on the other side, and you are in control of how you react to that, and the language, as you say, that you use and the tone that you use, and yes, sometimes it might even be appropriate to say, it's not a good time to discuss this now, let's pick it up again a bit later, because if emotions are really charged, sometimes you can't get the best out of that moment in time.
Yeah, well, as an adult, also you've got your own wisdom and your own experience that that you could actually bring that into this situation, and you can choose whether it's the right moment to talk to them or ask them if there's something going on or whatever. But also, what I like to bring in at this point is that if something they say or do and acts as a trigger to you, that means that there's something you need to become more conscious how that trigger affects you internally, in your inside world, because whatever they say, your children are there to mirror back at you where you are in your life and what you could actually heal to be able to become a better conscious parent. So whatever triggers you, there's a reason behind it. And then again, people say everything happens for a reason. Well, in our communication, in our interaction, in our way of being with one another, what we say or do or we don't say or we don't do could actually trigger others. And then it triggers you in a way. They say, okay, what is it here that my child is trying to teach me? Because your children are your teachers as well. And that's how I would like to see, how we can become more conscious parents, more conscious teachers, more conscious educators, to see, okay, what's going on here? I'm not the adult and I'm the perfect and I'm the master and I know everything, kind of thing. Attitude. It's like, what are they trying to tell me here? What is going on behind it? That's what my vision is, for the future, for adults and children to co-create and learn from one another.
And I think, and obviously that sort of thing comes into the Just For You section in the magazine. But I think also it's really important to remember that, like you say, we are all unique. We're unique as our adult beings, and the children are unique as their beings. Certainly I found with my daughter, she doesn't think in the way that I think about certain things, because she's her own person and I'm my own person, and that is a really valuable thing to recognise. And again, in the same way as supporting our children to be confident about who they are and to have good self-esteem about who they are, it is valuing that individuality and that uniqueness. And anybody like myself who's got more than one child, I've got two children, a boy and a girl, you will quickly realise that you can do exactly the same thing with both of them, but they will react, they will often react in a completely different way. The same as, with adults, that is the case as well. But like you say, it's about being conscious and aware of that and thinking it through and thinking what is the best way to deal with this and taking a bit of time to step back and think about it. And again, with the magazine and everything that's around that, I'm not saying, oh, you must do it this way is the best way to do it. I'm giving people a variety of ideas and opportunities for them to decide what might work best for them and the children they are involved with, because we are all uniquely different, and that is a wonderful thing.
Absolutely, it is a wonderful thing. And also don't hesitate to ask for help. I will insist, I will it is really important to say, well, actually, if I ask for help, you may say to yourself, what people will think of me, how people, what will people react to? Or, of course you become vulnerable by asking for help, but then at the same time, imagine the richness that will come into your life when a very simple solution will come to you that that will save you so much energy and hassle and all this mental sort of worry and anxiety. Am I doing the right thing? I'm not. So if you are at that point in your life where you have tried a number of things and still you're ending up on like that, just stop and say, okay, what can I do next? And then ask for support or connect with somebody who can help you, somebody who you can see, I can open up to them and I can ask and see an expert or a specialist that can help you. That's what I'm saying. Instead of, it's because it can save you so much time and energy rather than trying to figure out all by yourself. You cannot have all the answers as a parent or as an educator.
And again, I think that, that's been a big learning point in my life. We don't have to struggle on alone. We don't have to think that, if it's hard, what can we do to help ourselves to make life easier? Why do we want to punish ourselves and have these guilt trips and all this angst and this difficulty when there are opportunities and there are others out there who are only too willing to help us, and the chances are, if you're on my Facebook forum and you're asking for help about a certain thing, 2 weeks later it might be that you are giving your tips to somebody else. It's a two-way street, and we can all help each other. So there's that very informal help right through to, like you say, working with child behavioural expertise, nutritionists, etc. Signposting to charities and organisations for if you are really struggling or your child is really struggling with their mental health. So let's all help each other.
Let's make it happen together. That's what it is. Fabulous. Well, Sue Brookes, thank you so much for being on the Golden Muse show today. And thank you for bringing your own richness and inviting other people to share their richness through your platforms, through, Positive Publicity and Positive Kids online magazine and your Facebook page as well. So if you like to connect with more life explorers, because that's what I feel that I am, and I feel every single one of you are there. You're here to explore life, expand and evolve to be the best version of yourself. So what I would like to invite you is to subscribe on my YouTube channel, so you can connect with so many other people, and also to watch back other interviews I had over the last few years. So thank you so much once again, and just stay tuned, and hopefully we connect soon at some other point in real life too.